everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 5 tips for tomorrow's horse racing action. Now before we get into them, let's quickly just reflect on how our only selection ran today. We just, like I said, had the one tip run for us, and that was at Hexham with my nap for Rocco. In the end he couldn't win, but he absolutely flew home to finish in second place, which was a little bit frustrating because we advertised him at 8-1 and he was really well supported throughout the day, and I think he went off at 4-1 in the end, so there was a lot of market support behind him. But I think he ran a respectable race. You know, some people might say, oh, the jockey should have been closer, but they went really quick early on, and if you stayed towards the front you would have got your fingers burnt, because if you actually were watching the race you could see that they were going a quick tempo, because they've actually now, if you haven't seen it, they've got the sectional times on Sky Sports Racing, and also as well they've kind of copied it over on Racing TV, but they're showing you how fast they're going during a race, and they now do it on the jumps obviously. But yeah, they were going a quick tempo, and our selection for Rocco, he was just getting outpaced and he had to be niggled along a few times by Kane Yeoman. But in the closing stages of the race, the horses that had been making the running just fell away, and the horses that had been held up or been in midfield, they were the ones coming towards the fore, and Rocco absolutely flew home like a steam train. If they had another 50 yards in the race, I think he would have probably won the race. But yeah, that's the way it goes. A little bit frustrating, but you can't win them all. But yeah, we just managed, I don't know how, to scrape home the most smallest of profits in March. It felt like a disappointing month really until the last week or so, where our fortunes really did turn around. The start of the month was absolutely abysmal. Cheltenham wasn't great, but yeah, in the last week or so, that day when we had an 11-2 and 14-1 winner, that really did turn things around in our favour, and hopefully we can bring more of that form to April, where obviously we've got some great racing coming up. We've got All Weather Finals Day this Friday. We've got the Grand National meeting obviously at Aintree for the 3 days next week. We've got the Scottish Grand National at Ayr. We've got the Bet365 Gold Cup at Sandown, and also as well the Punchestown festival later on in the month coming around the corner. So plenty of racing to get stuck into in April, and hopefully, like I said, we can have some winners. And let's get into it then with the first of my tips for April. And for the first one, we're going to be going to Weatherby for my nap, which is going to be running in the 2:15. Now I'm going to be going here with a horse called Buck Spins for Tom Scudamore and Tom George. You can currently back this horse at 5-2 with bookmakers at the moment, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here. Now this horse, he has had his problems along the way. We haven't always seen him regularly at a race course, but I think on what he's shown, he definitely has the ability to win a race of this nature. Now on ratings, he's clearly the best in the race, off a mark of 112, and I think Connections have found a good opportunity here for him, because there's not many horses that could, I think, run to anywhere near his rating. You know, it's not, like I said, a particularly strong race, but this horse, Buck Spins, he's only a 7-year-old, and from what we've seen of him, he does have some ability. Last time we saw him, he ran at Taunton towards the end of last year when he finished in 3rd place, but he wasn't discredited at all that day. I think he finished in 3rd place behind a horse of Sean Curran's called Dukarov, who's now rated in the mid 120s. I think he has an official rating of 125, but he wasn't discredited at all that day. He wasn't far behind him, and Falcon's son of Dan Skelton split them that day. But if he was to bring that run to the fore tomorrow, I think that'll be good enough to win this race. Now he has, like I said, had a couple of issues, which means he's probably got maybe wind related issues because he's had a wind up, but I think that shouldn't pose a problem for him tomorrow, and I'm hoping that's just helped him out. He's still a 7-year-old. He's got a really progressive profile. Also as well, the key to him will be this dry and out ground. I think that will be another feather in his cap tomorrow. And also as well, Tom George's stable have been in really good form of late. They've had 7 winners from their last 36 runners, so the yard are in fairly decent nick, and I'm hoping we can get a winning start here tomorrow. So yeah, Buck Spins is going to be my nap, runs in the 2:15 at Weatherby, and like I said, hopefully we can get off to a good start there. We then go to Wales to Ffos Las for my next pick, and it's going to be an extra tip here, which runs in the 3 o'clock, and I'm going to be going here with a horse called Scorpion Haze for David Noonan and Ali Strong. Now you can currently back this horse at the time recording at 9-1. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse made his chase debut last time out at Leicester behind a horse of Lucy Wadham's, who absolutely bolted up that day and then was actually well fancied to go and win at Ludlow, but could only finish in second place that day behind Arnap, which was Rock on Rocco that day, you might remember last week. But I still thought it was a really credible run, and I think you could say that the form has been boosted there. But Scorpion Haze, I thought, ran really well for a long way on his chase debut on what I think was definitely ground that wouldn't have suited him at all. He's by Scorpion out of a presenting mare, which just reads, in my opinion, good ground, and he's going to be getting that at Ffos Las tomorrow, which I think will really suit him. Also as well, it was over 2.5 miles at Leicester, and he's going to be stepping up in trip to 3 miles, and I think that's going to be a massive positive for him, because if you actually look at his pedigree, he's got a stay-in pedigree related to a couple of 3-mile winners, so I think the test of stamina tomorrow will really be in his favour. And he was actually dropped £2 to a mark of 105 for that run. This horse definitely does have ability to make the frame, and I think at 9 to 1 that's a bit of a generous price there, and he should arguably be a little bit shorter in the betting. So for me, Scorpion Haze, I think he's got a great chance in this race, and I'll be disappointed if he couldn't make the frame, so that's why he is going to be an extra tip of the day. We then go to Uttoxeter for my only selection there, which is going to be my next best. It runs in a 3:10, and I'm going with the only mare in this lineup, Off the Hook, for Dan and Harry Skelton, who's obviously trying to chase Brian Hughes in the Jockeys Championship. He's the man of the moment, really. There's only one in it between them now after the close of play today, but I think Harry Skelton's got a very good chance on this horse, Off the Hook. Currently available at 15 to 8, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here. Now, I think off a mark of 110, this horse does have a race in her still. She was previously trained by Nick Alexander, who did some nice things with her, and I remember ran her in that Grade 2 Mares final at Newbury, where she finished 4th on that occasion to Annie Mack. Now, she has dropped down the weights since then. In fact, she's actually now £11 lower than her last win, which came in 2019 at Ayr. But I think she's got a bit of untapped potential. Since moving to Dan Skelton's yard, they haven't been able to give her many runs due to the ground not being in her favour. But I thought her last time out effort at Market Raisin, when she finished in 4th place, wasn't a bad run at all. The second place horse in that race was a horse of Henry Daly's that won at Ludlow today, so that form has been given a boost. She is going to be having to take on some of the boys in this race, but I didn't think it was a particularly strong race at all, and I think going up and trip on this better surface could just bring out a little bit more of improvement. So with the Skeltons in red hot form, I think this horse would take all the beating, so that's why this horse is going to be my next best of the day. We then head back to Ffos Las for our long shot of the day, which is going to be running in the West Wales National, the 4:37, and I'm going to take a chance here on King's Monarch for Richard Patrick and Kerry Lee. You can currently back this horse at the time recording at 14 to 1. That is available with SkyBet, who are paying 5 places on this race, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now, you are going to have to give this horse his last couple of runs. It's got some disappointing efforts next to its name. It's been pulled up on both occasions. However, if you go back to the run in October, this horse was a good winner that day over the course. Now, that was in heavy ground, but I still think was a worthy winner that day, and is only £3 higher tomorrow than that win. Won off a mark of 122 that day, and is going to be running off a mark of 125 tomorrow. But this horse, I think, will be suited to this better ground, and is still only an 8-year-old, and I think does have a lot more to give, and I think is definitely going to go very well tomorrow and can be competitive in a race of this nature. Also as well, Kerry Lee's team have been in fairly decent form over the last couple of days. They actually had a bumper winner at Warwick. You never see them with too many bumper winners. And also as well, both their runners at Ludlow today ran some good races. Both of them finished second, so the yard is in a little bit of form, and I do think King's Monarch does have a race in him of this nature. Also as well, like I said earlier, I think the better ground will suit. If you go back through his form far enough, he's shown some decent efforts on a better surface, so I think that's going to be in his favour tomorrow, and I think he's got a good chance of running a good race. And I think quite a lot of the others at the top of the betting, I think, are a little bit too short or might be exposed now. Whereas King's Monarch, yes, you might have to forgive his latest efforts, but he comes there off a break, and we know he can go well fresh. fresh because his win in October was his first one of the season. It'd been his first run for a while. So yeah, a lot to like about King's Monarch tomorrow. I think he's got a good chance of going very close, and that's why he's going to be my long shot of the day. We then move to the 5-10 at Ffos Las with the last tip of the day. This is going to be another extra tip with a horse called Lady KK here for Lorcan Williams, claiming free. He's riding for Jeremy Scott, whose team are in pretty decent form at the moment. You might remember they provided us with our long shot winner last week at 14-1. That was wavering down. But this horse you can currently back at the time recording at 5-1. And that price was available with Paddy Power and Betfair, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse ran a good race at Sandown last time when she finished in third place behind David Pipe's Sexy Lot, and that horse has been a rapid improver for the stable this season, has barely finished out the frame on all their starts, and I think that was a pleasing effort by Lady KK. She was actually dropped a couple of pounds for that run down to a mark of 106, which I do think is well within her capabilities. I think also as well, this trip, the 2.5 mile distance, will definitely be in her favour. She's tried 3 miles before where I don't think she quite stayed that day, and I think 2 miles is probably a little bit on the sharp side for her, but I think 2.5 is right up her street. Also as well, if you go back far enough for her form, she ran at Fakenham earlier in the season behind a horse of Pavel Volosky of Chris Gordon's, and that horse has definitely been a smart one for him on his last couple of starts. Actually won a race at Kempton a couple of weeks ago. So there are some good form lines with Lady KK, and I think she's well up to winning the race off her current mark. And with the yard in good form, I think with the 5-1, 4 places on offer with Paddy Power and Betfair, I think a 0.5 dirty each way bet is well a really solid option here, and I think she's, like I said, this mare's got a great chance, so that's why she's going to be my extra tip of the day. So quickly then, just round off the 5 tips. In the 2:15 at Weatherby, Buckspin is the nap, 5-2 1 point win only bet. In the 3 o'clock at Ffos Las, an extra tip is Scorpion Haze, 9-1 0.5 each way only bet. In the 3:10 at Uttoxeter, Off the Hook is the next best of the day, 15-8 1 point win only bet. In the West Wales National is the Longshot, the 4:37 at Ffos Las, King's Monarch, 14-1 0.5 each way, 5 places SkyBet. And then the 5:10 at Ffos Las, another extra tip of the day, Lady KK for Lorcan Williams and Jeremy Scott, 5-1 0.5 each way only bet, 4 places Paddy Power Betfair. So yep, there are the 5 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, in fact the only place you can do on social media where you can follow me is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.